Hi, I'm Saffron. I'm a professional slayer, and this is my BFF, Nicole Richie.
Hi, I'm Nicole Richie. It's my BFF, Saffron.
Yeah, we've been best friends since 14, right? It's been, I don't want to reveal my age, but it's been 10 years.
Yeah, about 10,
Yeah.
about a decade, I think.
Yeah, and ZULA was like, oh, do you want to get interviewed by your best friend? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll pick the most awkward person I know, which is Joy.
When do you start posting on social media?
16, 17. Remember the story? Basically, last time, Mel Ling created IG for me. And then my account got hacked, remember?
Yeah.
And then she was like, I'll just make you an account. Then she just made for me. So that's when it started. So I owe my career to her, actually.
When do you start being more open about
Online.
your personal life?
When I was on Real Talk, that was when I started sharing about my life more candidly.
Other like friends, because they know like, oh, you are friends with Saffron, that kind of thing. So they ask me like, hey, why your friend Saffron post this kind of thing on social media? Like, talk about her relationships, like so openly, you know? So what do you have to say about that?
I guess when I was younger, I just felt, I didn't really feel the need to like censor parts of me because you know me, right? Since young, I always just like, I'm an open book. So I feel like I carry the same attitude towards my followers. Obviously, didn't say it completely backfired, but there's like, there are people with opinions, for example, like people that you mentioned just now. And other people like judge me for like stuff that I do. But at the end of the day, I became more successful. So I think it paid off, yeah. Yeah, so I don't really mind lah, yeah.
So like when you use TikTok, Instagram, do you receive a lot of like negative comments?
Actually, mix and match. Like, I think most, like overall is pretty positive. However, people always like have an opinion and like, obviously there are negative things being said about me and stuff. I don't know, like, just learn how to like deal with it as the years go by. And people that say the good things, I just remember the good stuff lor. Yeah, like you. I take everything people say online with a pinch of salt. I mean, to the end of the day, like I feel if you take everything super personally, it will really affect your mental health because people do tend to say a lot of mean things like behind a screen, but they don't really say it to my face. In my face, they'll ask for a selfie. You know, like they'll be like, hey, let's take a selfie with Saffron. So I think because of how open I am, like people have like a closer relationship to me. But they don't have to agree with everything that I say, but I appreciate the community that I have. Yeah.
What's a preconceived notion that others have about you that you dislike?
I think obviously it comes to like my sex life. Like people assume that it's like damn bombastic and crazy, but it's actually not. It's pretty normal. You know, it's quite normal, right? You're my best friend, you can gauge this for me.
Yeah, it's okay lah, quite normal.
I just share my experiences online because I feel like it's like an outlet for me. That's why I do it. And to be honest, nobody else is doing it as well. So it really makes me stand out from the crowd. And like being an influencer, there's so many of us, so you really got to sharpen your content, I would say. But I think as I've gotten older, I've become a bit more self-aware of like the stuff that I say online. But now that I'm single, it's like, oh, I want to be more private, you know, like protect my energy.
Yeah, I think it may be your over friendliness that will give people the wrong impression.
Yeah. People think that I am like genuinely very flirty and stuff like that, but I'm just a very friendly person.
Okay, when you realize that like being an influencer was something that you wanted to pursue?
It was like after junior college, and then I started getting more popular online. Before that, I was like, oh, I can actually like do this full time because I was actually earning enough money to live quite a good lifestyle. I was spending a shit ton of money actually, but I was also earning a lot for someone my age that time. So I felt like, oh, I can actually do this and like ride on this wave. So that's why I decided to do it full time, and I'm still doing it now. Yeah.
Okay.
But the most iconic thing I would say about being a social media influencer is that Steven Lim knows who I am. Yeah, we love Steven Lim.
When do you really feel like you became a social media personality?
I think when I joined Real Talk, and then like that's when people really started like noticing me, like people of all kinds of backgrounds. I think before I started, like I'm gonna be very candid, like it's usually just guys who think I'm hot. But like when I joined Real Talk, then people are like, oh, it's like a lot of girls, more like younger people as well as older people, like they come up to me and then they're like, oh, we think you're so funny, and I love the stories that you share. So that's when I realized that, oh, actually this is like something that I enjoy doing a lot. Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about pursuing this line of work?
Going, like not being restricted to a 9 to 5. So I can wake up whatever time I want. To be honest, I wake up pretty early in general. I just like not having a structure in place by someone else. Like I create my own structure. Secondly, I really enjoy traveling and going for events and meeting new people. And it's all considered work for me. And thirdly, I think it's the community that I have formed. So it allows me to have like different types of relationships and like a deeper connection with like my followers and stuff.
So what's your least favorite thing about work?
The fact that I cannot spend time with you every day.
Very sweet.
Yeah, sweet, right? I think the least favorite thing about it is like definitely people have a certain opinion of me and they think like whatever I put online is me as a person. Obviously, everything online is very curated and it's something that I put in a lot of effort to think about and like branding and stuff like that. So it's a part of me, but it's not the entire version of me. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you struggle with self-worth. So does being in this line of work affect that?
Yeah, I think when I was younger, I was like a very competitive kid. So I always hyperfixate on like things that I can like control people's perception of me. Not really like in school I always like damn hardworking.
Yeah.
I study a lot.
Yeah.
Purely because I feel like it makes me feel better about myself. So I think I carried this similar attitude into my job as a professional slayer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I was younger, I was very obsessed with like how many followers I had, like oh, the amount of likes on certain pictures I have to post every day, blah blah blah. And like when things don't like work out, I'll be like, oh, I'll be really affected. Or if I see another person like thriving harder than me, I'll be like why I'm better than her, that kind of like negative energy. But I think now I am a lot more confident in who I am as a person. So it doesn't really matter what other people do. Obviously, there are people's careers that I strive and aspire to be like, but it's not that I want to like knock them down to get there. Like I want to do it my own way, But obviously, I think being in this industry, it is competitive, but it's like a kind of more like a social game. It's like being in secondary school your entire life. It's like a game of popularity, like more like chess kind of thing. Like you need to know the right people and you need to meet certain people, like talk to certain people and stuff like that. And you need to curate your image very well. So that has definitely like affected what I perceive self-worth to be.
So over the years, how do you feel you have managed these struggles?
I think having a good support group of friends really did help me a lot. And my friend told me this, my friend in London, she was telling me that if you don't really attach yourself to the outcome of the situation, you'll be less affected by things. Because I'm quite a control freak and I like to like control a lot of aspects of my life, and even when it comes to like relationships or how I feel. So she told me that. So every time I expect something from a situation, like try to control my life, I'll recall that statement and like learn to let go.
There was once you were having COVID, I think, or you came back from UK.
Oh!
Yeah.
The SHN period, is it?
Yeah, and then that was when I think I mean, I think
yeah.
I don't think we really discuss a lot of these kind of things in detail, right?
No, you just like passing comments.
So
Yeah.
when actually do you really like realize you first had anxiety?
My first realization that I had anxiety was in SMU when like I was very stressed from school and like unhappy in uni, and then when I moved to London, I think COVID plus like breaking up with my ex made me like go through a lot of like internal like changes in my life. But I think growing up, I've always been quite anxious. I just didn't know that it was anxiety until like I realized that it's weird that I'm not sleeping like regular hours and stuff. Yeah. But I don't know, like when I was younger, I would think I was very I didn't manage it as well. But now that I'm older, it's a lot. I manage it a lot better. Yeah, but I mean, you know, right? Like when I was growing up, like obviously my mom's like a single parent, so she carries a lot of stress on herself, and sometimes it translates to me. And yeah, Joy has bear witness to some of it. Yeah.
Auntie Sarin, you didn't hear this?
But yeah. But I think obviously, like I'm not shading my mom. It just has contributed to my mental, like my anxiety. Yeah.
Do you feel like it's something that you can actually share with your loved ones?
My mental health struggles.
Yeah, I mean, cause like we both of us, we don't like you said, we always talk about such things like in very passing, like just a remark. So do you feel like you can actually share with anyone?
Like in the past, no. Last time I only shared with like my boyfriend, so I was like hyper like dependent on my partners. But now that I've gotten older and like I think going for therapy helped me realize that I can split the load amongst other people. Like in the past, I was just very fearful of like people judging me or like people not being they like, oh, why aren't you happy? Like you're happy all the time, that kind of thing. So that used to bother me, but now I'm more at ease with sharing my experiences, and it has made me feel like things are less shitty. Like I mean, not saying like when I'm having a shitty moment, then it's less shitty because I have people that I can depend on. Yeah. Do you think I've changed across the years? Like when it comes to sharing?
Actually, yes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say like very drastic. I think slightly more. Yeah. I still think there's a part of her that's very reserved. Like you keep, like just keep it. I mean, everyone has their own world, you know. Yeah. So yeah, to some extent, I still think she can be quite not how do I say, not very vulnerable.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know me best.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people think that I'm like extremely open and vulnerable. But actually, I feel that I only let loose information that I feel that people won't inflict back on me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, right? Like when sometimes you don't want to share everything because it's just like some things are just very private to you, and you also like internalize a lot of like self-judgment. But yeah, she's correct. Yeah.
So I know you have been going for therapy. So what pushed you to go for therapy?
I realized like mentally I was like really very distressed, and I couldn't sleep properly, and I felt like something in me was like probing me not to like no, probing me to go for it because I wanted help. And that's why I started therapy. And honestly, I think I've really become a much more like calm person. Sometimes take things like very personally, but therapy allows me to process my feelings a lot better. Yeah. So I don't feel so like pent up. And when I notice like these kind of feelings happening, I know what to do, and like I know what people I should have in my life or shouldn't have in my life. So that has helped me a lot. I've been to a couple of therapists. So I had a therapist in Singapore, and I had therapists in London. But I feel like the experience that I had in Singapore was more like discussing and talking, and like it leads to certain places, but it wasn't as fast or as effective as what I experienced in London. Because in London, it gave you like a set of structure, and it's like a class. So like your brain is a muscle, and you're training your brain to overcome like your mental blockages. So the mental blockage that I had was that I didn't love myself, and then therapy was called compassion-based therapy, which taught me how to accept all parts of myself. So by doing so, it put me like I used to meditate like every day. So like meditation, like self-care, learning how to express my feelings and talking to people about it. It was all like something that I have to really learn, because in the past I only felt truly safe expressing myself to my boyfriend, my then boyfriend. Therapy taught me how to process my feelings and learn how to be your biggest supporter. Yeah.
Besides therapy, what else like have you done to cope with your mental health?
For me, like going to gym is like my safe space. I don't actually work out that much. I just like being in the gym because it's like I don't have to talk to anyone. I like to cook as well. So cooking really helps me like calm my nerves, and cooking like my favorite meal really helps me feel better. If I'm really having the very, very, very shit day, then I'll ask my friends to come over. Last time it used to be like drinking and partying, but that's really unsustainable lah. Yeah, and nowadays if I drink too hard, the next day I really feel like even worse, like hungover, and I realized that sleeping really affects my mental, like my mood and my mental health, like for that day. So I try to prioritize my sleep as well.
Do you feel like you can find support now from your loved ones in these struggles?
Yeah, because I don't know, I feel like if I talk to you, so you never really judge me anyway. So I do talk to you about things. And I know you also, I hope we have the same relationship, vice versa. Even though I always scold you, but I come from a place of course. I scold her because, not because I want her to feel bad, but I think you're very you can be very stubborn. And I've known you for so many years. So I feel like I just want the best for you.
Where do you feel you are in your mental journey right now?
I think I've come very, very far since 2 years ago. 2 years ago I was completely distressed, couldn't sleep, felt really low. I still feel low, obviously, from time to time, but I allow myself to just feel sad, and the mental distress that I feel eventually passes. If I know I can't control the outcome, I just let it be, I guess. Yeah, but I'm fortunate enough to have the tools that I've learned to navigate these kind of things. I don't think if I never started therapy, I don't think I will be where I am right now. I think it'll probably take a much longer time. But yeah, I don't know, I feel like I've become a lot more independent. I feel like my criteria for people that I date is a lot higher, right? Yeah, I won't tolerate things that I don't like about a person, because I know I can fall back on myself and other people around me.
Yeah, so why do you still decide to go to London despite being so successful?
Yeah, so I don't know if y'all if people watching know this. I used to be from SMU. Yeah, smooth. Which is actually a great school. I just felt that I wasn't a right fit because I'm firstly bad at math. So I initially wanted to go to SMU Law, but I didn't get in because I didn't get straight A's. So I went to business. And then I was like, oh, it can't be that bad. I was like, whoa, it's bad. So much math. And I was like, I think I'm gonna die. And I wasn't happy because I felt like it wasn't something that I was interested in. And I am quite a passion-focused person. So I need to be inspired by what I'm doing. So I wasn't feeling that. I just didn't want to be there. So I dropped out of school, and I had to convince my mom to send me abroad. And I've always wanted to study abroad anyway. So my mom finally let me go, and that's why I went to London. And she was like, oh, you can't do business because you did it in Singapore, right? And you didn't like it, so why don't you do something you actually like? So that's why I went to do I studied media and film in London, and yeah, and then COVID happened, and half of my uni life I was actually studying online. Yeah, but it was still an overall fruitful experience because I got to live abroad and make a lot of friends that I still consider very close to me who live in another side of the world. It allowed me to grow as a person, living abroad. Make me realize that actually Singapore is a great city to be in, and I love being in Singapore. And it made me realize how fortunate I am to have so many opportunities back home. It also made me realize that I should be confident in my ideas, but it made me realize you know what, I'm better than this. You do you, I do me. And if it fails, then it fails, so you just move on to the next project. Yeah, just gotta try.
But I think back then your mother was quite against it, right? Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, she was my mom was no, you cannot go, it's so much money. But I think it's because she didn't want me to leave her as well. Because we are very close. But she didn't know how to say it. So I think she put forth that argument. So yeah, I mean, she eventually let me go, and I'm very grateful for that experience, because I think it has definitely made me more deeper as a person. Yeah.
So after doing your degree in comms, are there any other areas you would like to consider?
I low-key wanted to be a director, and I think I still do, but I'm more focused on making a lot of money now. But no, it's definitely I want to do something on the side. I don't think I'll ever stop doing this job until I become irrelevant. Then when I get irrelevant, I'll just have a baby, and then there's another sector right there. So look, I have to find a husband first. But besides that, I definitely would consider doing sales. Probably because I am very sociable, and I sell things constantly online anyway. So it's kind of a soft skill that I picked up across the years. So yeah, that's things that I have considered. Yeah, a lot of people don't really know this, but a lot of work that an influencer does, besides making content, I think making content is the fun part. Is meeting clients, going to events, and networking, and gauging your rate. This is something that I picked up on after many years in the business. Yeah.
What are some hopes and dreams you have for your future?
To get married and have kids. But not now, maybe in my 30s. I want to be a boss babe. #boss babe. Yeah, so this year I want to set up more businesses for myself. Won't reveal yet, Hush, hush, because I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, I want to be in charge of my own company and stuff like that. That's one of my ultimate goals. It's on my manifestation board. Besides that, I think traveling more would be great. Not doing the same, just new experiences. I'm still young, so definitely new experiences. Yeah, emotionally, find boyfriend, I guess. But I'm not in a rush. I always say that I want boyfriend, but actually I quite enjoy being single. Yeah, because it's very stress-free, I would say. I get very stressed in relationships. So yeah, being single. Yeah, that's about it. I think to learn how to be less hard on myself, and mentally just enjoy the process, I guess. Yeah, but obviously I don't really ever want to be depressed again. It really sucks. However, it made me into a much, much better person. But at the same time, it was really painful. So I don't really want to experience that again. But I definitely want to help people who have similar experiences. Because to me, I feel like a lot of problems can be solved if we just spoke about things. Do you have any hopes and dreams for me?
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, I hope she gets to where she wants to be eventually. Yeah.
See you too, babes. Yeah.
That's my hope for her. Yeah. So how have you felt about this whole session? What?
How how do I feel? We never actually have serious conversations, right? Like I feel like we do talk seriously, but it's never like, how are you? Like, it's more like I talk about my day and then I talk about something that is bothering me and then we like just chit chat. So it's like low key like I feel like there's like a bit of a therapy session happening. I should do this for you also, because I feel like you're introspective, but you kind of like to not suppress, more like just outside out of mind kind of mentality.
Kind of.
Yeah, you're like not my problem, not my tai chi kind of vibes. Yeah, yeah. So maybe I should ask all these questions to you too.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
in
maybe
future.
in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you grateful for this friendship?
Well,
Better talk.
no lah, that you always have my back. Yeah, and I'm grateful that like it's also like quite a low maintenance friendship. Like we don't have to talk like all the time and hang out every day. But if I need you or like you want to hang out, we will definitely like hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like she's kind of wrapped up in her own life now, and I'm also like in my own life, and we don't actually have similar group circle of friends.
Yeah.
Her circle of friends is very different from mine. But regardless of that, we still like hang out and make the effort to like be each other's besties.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you grateful, about me, about this friendship?
I think this friendship has taught me how to be more open. Yeah. And yeah. Also looking at the brighter side of life and like looking forward to what life can bring to us. Yeah.
Slay.
Yeah.
You deserve the best, bro. We don't actually do this. Like usually just like text her that I love her.
So do you have any advice for all the people out there?
Shout out to everyone watching. I don't think I have advice because I just lend support. So I feel like if you're going through something in your life, just speak to someone about it. It can be anybody, honestly. As long as you share, you feel less alone. And I think that's the root of a lot of like mental health issues, that people just feel alone or like no one understands them. But you're never alone. Yeah, fighting. Yeah. You can always DM me. Like people DM me their problems, so